When the present government initially argued that there was nothing like fuel subsidy, some of the people who understood the workings of the industry knew it was at best wishful thinking. In simple terms, we operate a regulated downstream oil sector, and by implication, all petroleum products that arrive in this country are sold to you and to I at a price lower than the landing cost, leaving a shortfall that has to be paid in the way of subsidy by government. That situation is still prevalent till date. In the same vein, when the electricity industry was fully privatized, it was done on the platform of several factors and agreement, and what you can call rules of engagement. How that event has affected or how that increases supply remains a major talking point, especially for consumers who are at the receiving end of epileptic, electricity. Should you really bother, or why should you really bother to understand how this works? On today's program, we attempt to highlight some critical areas of that sector, which has become very touchy, but that must be addressed if we must really have an uninterrupted supply, or at least something a bit more reliable and predictable. Please stay tuned. I'm Olu Phillips. In 2013, under the administration of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, a world record was bettered. The country transited from a completely public-owned power sector to private investors. The full cycle was adjudged internationally as a no-mean feat. Did it solve all of the sector's challenges in one fell swoop? Nope. But interestingly, it opened various feeder opportunities and perhaps also loads of talking points. Nigeria's power sector is a unique one, a completely different model from what runs elsewhere in the world. Her lenient process is a value chain of several mix and individuals whose success and failure depend not only in their actions or inactions, but a compendium of aggregated efforts by all entities in the mix. In the past, several reforms have been introduced. That's not, however, to allude that the country's power sector had always been problematic. There were some beautiful times in the past.
By the time I joined the power sector in 1978, up till the early 80s, things were pretty much better than what we have. The generation capacity has not reached where we are, but even the demand in the sector was not as huge as we will have now. As far back as up to 1986, we had like brand new power plants that could give us about 5,600 megawatts.
As of 86?
Yes. The last to be commissioned was Egbin and Jeba, and those ones were just brand new. We had surplus power. At that time, we started thinking, which was a very beautiful thought, that why don't we sell what we have to neighboring countries that do not have electricity? So the power pool issue actually evolved through this mechanism. And we started negotiating power purchase with Benin Republic and Togo, which is under what we call CEB. But it's under the ECOWAS mission that we are trying to broker this. Beautiful idea. And today, it has metamorphosized to what they call West African Power Pool, where the whole of West Africa is trying to simulate together the available power resources and see how we can. And that took its root because Nigeria already has 330. No other country in West Africa had anything more than 138 kV or 166. So, right now, I think even the one to Mamehegu, which is at the border between Togo, is already built. And the idea is to close the loop between Sakete and that one, and that will form what we call the South Core corridor for power. Subsequently, too, we set up a machinery in motion between Nigeria, Benin, Togo, Ghana, and Côte d'Ivoire, and Burkina Faso and Niger, to set up another corridor in the north called the North Core that will start from Birnin Kebbi to Niamey, Niamey to pass through Melanville, and from there it will enter into Burkina Faso. Because right now Burkina Faso is an interland, they don't have a seaport. So hydro is not very common, gas is not there, so they need all the resources from Nigeria and from any other West African state, because right now they have a small tertiary cable line that connects Ghana to Burkina Faso and Senegal. That's where they get their power from. So all this put together is what the West African power pool is concerned about.
One challenge led to another. Reforms were introduced in silos, but the most that bears much in history happened when we completely turned from being government operated to private entities largely.
The belief, and until that changes, we will always have a problem. The belief is that Jonathan sold these things to cronies. Fact and final. So nothing comes under that after that is not receiving its input from this perception. Instead of us looking at the issues, yes, we should look at issues from the perspective of what we have. Yes, they sold, but they sold to human beings. They didn't sell to this thing. And they know who and who are involved. It's human beings that will buy them. Even if you decide to go and sell to other people, they will still face the same problem that we are facing.
So, politics aside, the real issues.
Let's talk about the real issues. I've always, you see, until you put the right people in the right position, there's no way I can be in the helm of affairs and will not want to see a bigger picture, not just the small picture or what somebody told me. There's nothing anybody wants to tell me about the power sector today that I don't have a very good picture. So I don't need those lobbies and the sycophants and others coming to say, oh, this is what is going on. Don't you know this? People have turned power to football. People come with different ideas. Oh, solar is the only thing. Oh, renewable is the only thing. Is this and that. Let's face reality with ourselves. Let's go back to all the developed countries. Did they develop on renewable? America developed its infrastructure on coal.
Fossil.
Fossil. South Africa developed itself on fossil. I was in World Bank office one day, and South Africa came to defend a coal power plant that they wanted to build. And World Bank says, no way. Environmental issues, blah, 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 blah. So when they finished, the leader of the team said, okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll go back to our nuclear. Because that one is environmentally friendly. Yeah, they said, no, 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 no. Don't go close to that. And they had to come back to issue them license to be able to build coal power plants. The fact is that,
know what you want.
Of course, you have to be sure of what you want. Don't ask people who don't know about power to go before you to go and defend power, because at the end of the day, what do you get? Nothing. Because when you want to go for surgery, you say, hey, admin has to go. Accountant has to go. The auditor must also go. What are they going to do? Nothing. Put people who know about this, who can argue, who can understand.
And who have nothing to do.
Yes, the technology involved. Everybody is bringing power plants to Nigeria. Nobody is regulating them. Yet, some are environmentally not friendly. Some are already used and consuming a lot of fuel, which people who know about it say, sorry, you can't use this plant. They end up in Nigeria.
In the name of power plant.
In the name of power plant. We imported power plants that have been dismissed in Philippines.
Into Nigeria.
Into Nigeria to start Enron, which eventually became AES. I don't know what they are now. Plants that had already gone past their lifespan.
were brought in as plans for new projects.
Yes, for new projects.
In Nigeria.
In Nigeria. So we have to understand where we are coming from and where we are going. If we don't have a result that we want to achieve and we start a project, you are not going to end up anywhere, because whatever you end up with will be assumed is the result. Whereas that is not your outcome from the beginning. So the issue at stake in Nigeria today is to sit down with the stakeholders. What are the issues? Because one of the things I see is that even the act itself needs to be reviewed.
The 2005?
Yeah.
When this government came to power, it had at its focus a tripod guide on what it wanted to achieve with power. 1. Incremental power. 2. Steady supply. And 3. Uninterrupted supply. This vision meant investment had to be made in the value chain they control, i.e. transmission. But in making sure that other factors in the power equation travel on the same pace, 2 policies were introduced last year. One is the eligible customer, and the other, the meter asset provider, aimed at bridging the metering gap.
MAP will work, but whether it will work in the context of the regulation as it is today is a separate ballgame. But we have to try it. And try it with the hope that if there are issues, we'll begin to adjust. But the regulator must be ready to adjust with it. Because if they don't, then there is problem. Yeah, this is the only way. It cannot be the only way. The operators are in the field. They are seeing what is going on. So it's an issue. We introduce eligible customer.
You guys have a problem with that?
Everybody, you see, it's not as if eligible customer is not
in
itself, right? It's because the conditions attached to it are not being followed. For example, all the people who say they want to go eligible today, they go to buy power from Kenji, which is hydro. There's nowhere in the world. Hydro was not sold, it was concessioned. And anywhere in the world where you are doing cross-subsidization in power between high gas tariff and low this thing, you have cross-subsidized to come to the tariff where we are. By the merit order, all hydro plants must be dispatched first before you put in the expensive units there. So if hydros have contracted by vesting contract the full capacity they have, where is the extra one they are selling to eligible customers? So it's an issue for discourse, because when we are computing our tariff, we had already done the arithmetic. Oh, this person is taking power at this level. By the time because today there are still people paying 6.50 Naira RO1 customers. RO2 customers, which form like Ibadan, is about 60–65% of the total energy that we consume, is sold below the cost of energy to us. 65%, even if we sell 100%, collect 100%, is still below the cost of energy.
Because of the sheer number of the consumers in your territory.
Yes, on RO2.
Most of them are RO2.
Yes.
What you mean?
So it is these people on commercial and industrial that subsidize this thing to make it just to balance out. Even we are still going to have shortfall, but let it become close. So when those industrial are being taken out under eligibility, where is the cross-subsidization coming? Because that is further worsening the financial crisis in the system. We can never. Today we buy energy at maybe 7.2 billion and we make only 4.5, 4.6 billion. Tell me, is that a business?
you.